All right, everyone. Hope you're doing well. Dave Mormon, home service business coach. I want to talk to you today on kind of the juxtaposition here of how a CEO thinks and operates his or her business and how an owner operator does. Anytime I'm making decisions in life, I like to see all the facts, all the data. And I want to just lay out for you, like, here's the facts. If you choose the one side as a solopreneur, and here's the other if you choose as a business owner, because I've been in both camps, and we've also consulted a whole bunch of companies now in both camps, and you got to kind of choose what's going to be right for you. So when we look at the solopreneur, right, I've typically seen $200,000 is kind of a high mark when it comes to revenue that like an individual can produce when it comes to home services. We've seen guys and girls do 300, 400K, solo based businesses, but usually 200 is where like we're like, man, we're at 20K a month. We should probably look to hire somebody to help us out here. So for revenue and profit for a solopreneur, 200K, you're putting most of that in your pocket at 50% is 100 grand. Okay. Now, contrast to the business owner, we're going to take this at a $700,000 business example, at a 25% net. So like more on the top line, great, but we're actually making a lower percent on profit because we have more overhead to pay, but we're actually netting out almost twice as much dollars, right? 175K versus the 100. So, again, pros and cons to both ways, but that's how the revenue and profit shakes out. We'll keep going here. Then it comes down to time, right? When you create a business, you got to ask yourself, what is your time commitment in the business? For solopreneur, like you're working a lot, right? And I just put 50 hours a week, could be 40, could be 60, but it's all in all the time, right? You're handling a whole lot of responsibilities in your business. There's no one else you can like delegate to. So like you're handling it all. That is how it is. Now, I would argue a business owner could work 25 hours a week once their business is set up. You could do more, you could do less, but kind of the structure for team members I've laid out here is the solopreneur, there's no one on your team like we talked about. And on this level at 700K, it's very achievable with four solid technicians, two on each crew, and then having a full-time office manager who can effectively oversee the schedule, take inbound calls, and help provide estimates for the business. So that's how the team shakes out, and that's how you're at kind of a 25-hour a week work week because you're not on the job site, you're not having to do the schedule, you're not picking up the phone, you're not doing the invoicing, you're not doing a lot of the paperwork. Even like stuff like social media could even be outsourced to someone on your team or a social media company. You're really looking at doing a lot of in-person quotes for this level right here. So it comes down to key responsibilities then, right? The solopreneur, you're going to be performing the service. You're going to be doing the estimates, right? You're going to be doing a lot of the admin work. You're going to be doing the marketing, right? If there is even time. But like, how many solopreneurs have we talked to? They're like, hey, I don't need to do marketing because it's all word of mouth, right? So a lot of solopreneurs will just turn like the dials down on marketing and do like nothing. Maybe have like a few business cards and signs, but they're not really that motivated to push the business because like they're booked and like it's all good. So that's usually the mindset of the solopreneur typically. And then the business owner, the CEO, they're very focused on growing the business, right? That is the CEO's ultimate role is moving the business to the next level. They're doing in-person estimates at 700K. You don't really need like a full-blown salesperson yet. So a lot of times the owner will sit in that seat and like have relationships with their customers and go and do those in-person quotes. And that can be done on like a couple days a week, quite honestly. The CEO is going to be coaching their team. So again, they're a 5-person team, be coaching them on a weekly basis, and then really focused on how do we grow this business? Where are those opportunities that, I can make more strategic partnerships or build out better job site marketing or look at our Google PPC ads or look to do some Facebook ads, right? Or how do we contact our past clients? Like these are all things that a CEO is thinking about to move the ball down the field and grow the business up to the next level. Now there's stresses, right? Both these sides. I'm not saying, oh, you grow your business that it's less stress. I think it's a better lifestyle, I believe, but there still is stress that comes with either one of these decisions. So in this one, there's a weekly stressor for the solopreneur of the owner having to do everything, right? And just being overwhelmed. And typically, like owner operators have a tough time growing their business substantially because it is just them. And so I think they get to a point where they just accept like reality that is what it is. And that's where they develop this like Superman and Superwoman syndrome of like, if anything's going to happen, it has to be me. And they start to like really perfect their craft. And like with every passing week, their mindset closes a little more that, they are like a savant and no one can actually do what they do as good as them. Like we see this with painters, landscapers, window cleaners, like all the time, right? It's this like overemphasis on like doing a technically perfect job when really the market doesn't care about it really being that crazy particular perfect. They just want it done for a fair price. They want it done like hassle free and they want to be happy with the overall experience. And the stresses for the CEO is like employees will make mistakes, right? I've had over like almost 200 staff that I've hired over the course of being in home services. Employees make mistakes, I can tell you, right? A lot of mistakes. But I've had to learn how to let go of control of the business because like my vision for it is greater than just being a owner operator. So I'm like taking the good with the bad. Like I'm taking the more revenue and the fact that we made sales today without me having to do anything. And we're doing work today, making money without me having to do anything. But then there's going to be issues that come with that. So you can't like have your cake and eat it too, right? There's like, it's like choosing your heart. Like, which one do you want to wrestle with? It's totally like your preference. And that's why I want to lay out like both sides of the equation. And I just happen to choose the CEO model for this one because, you know, life's hard, employees make mistakes, it is what it is, but I also see like the great reward that can come from that. There's risk too with this decision, right? The risk for the solopreneur, well, if the owner's away, gets hurt and injured, there is no business, right? Everybody's calling, they want to deal with Corey, who's the owner of the window cleaning business. And like, if Corey's not coming, we're not interested, right? All the Google reviews say Corey. If Corey, breaks his ankle, he's out for 8 weeks. There's no money coming in, right? That's a big risk to the business. The risk to the business on the CEO side is if the owner is away injured, the business can continue to operate. So in this one, like that's a huge plus to grow your company beyond yourself. But there's inherent risk to business with employees if there is liability issues, people driving vehicles, they get an accident, there's an insurance claim. Like again, to the previous point, just employees can make mistakes, and that carries inherent risk with the business as well that you need to decide which one's going to be best for you. And then I love this one. I called it the team hours of impact. Okay. So how I like love my business. If you have a 7-person business and they're all working full time, that's 2,000 hours per year. So I have 14,000 hours that are being invested into my business to grow the brand, right? They're driving to and from the job site, to and from the office. I've got someone in the office making phone calls. I've got someone out doing in-person estimates. Like these are all deposits in the brand that are benefiting the business owner, me. Even if it's just driving to a job site and someone sees the wrap truck, there's more wrap trucks than just one. So there's a benefit there, right? Where the solopreneur, 50 hours a week, 50 weeks a year, 2,500 hours, right? We're maxed out, right? One truck, people see you around town, they see you at the coffee shops. That's great. There is some impact there, but like 14,000 hours, or in this case, I had 5 full-time team members, is 10,000 hours plus the owner hours. There's 11,000 total hours, right? 11,000 total hours versus 2,500 hours. It's a lot. And that's just over 1 year. What about over 3 years, 5 years, 10 years? The business with more people will just have naturally more of like a pulsing business where there's like more activity and more people seeing the brand. And then it just comes down to valuing the business, right? There's something called enterprise value, which is actually what is your business worth? And when you look at the solopreneur, they built up a 200K business. They've got a few hundred clients. You've got a phone number, a website, maybe some Google reviews, a client list, and some equipment, right? Let's just say that's worth 50 grand, like give or take, right? The business is worth what someone's willing to pay for it. In, 50 grand for a job, it's not really worth anything, but hey, some client lists, some equipment, maybe you've got like a truck, Google reviews, like you could sell to someone that has, a bigger window cleaning business. And rather than starting it, they're like, I got some money, here's 50K, like, let's get into business. And I don't want to say it's worth nothing, right? It's absolutely worth something. But I think some solopreneurs delude themselves that they think, oh, this is worth, more money than it actually is. So just like take it with a grain of salt, but let's value that at say 50K. We're over here for the business doing 700 grand. You got the brand, you've got systems in place, you've got a team. The business can operate at times without you. You've got a larger client list. You've got more equipment. Maybe you've got some clients that are on some level of a service subscription that they're paying monthly or quarterly for. We're going to value that at 350K. Okay. And how we get that is like you look at this business here pumping out almost 200K a year. Like conservatively, that's worth 2 times, like 175 times 2, right? Which is like over 350K. So you take that and then you add some equipment, some vehicles, maybe you got a Christmas light stock, like all those things are worth money. So I think sometimes we think up here, solopreneurs are like, my business is worth my revenue. Like it's absolutely not. And then business owners think, this thing I could get 7 times my EBITDA because I heard a friend of a friend got that and this thing's worth $1 million. Like, no, it's not. Typically, businesses of these levels are not worth your revenue. You've got to go on the EBITDA, the earnings before interest, taxes, and amortization. So typically 2 to 3 times in the service industry for businesses below $1 million, but we've seen higher, we've seen lower. Again, it all is dependent on what the buyer is really willing to pay, as it is with any free market. So I wanted to just present to you today the 2 sides so you can make the decision you want to make. Strong pros and cons for each one. I'll just share for a minute why I chose the business owner one is because I started my business 7 years ago for more time freedom, number one, and to make more income than I could make working for someone else. And I've been able to achieve both of those goals. And that's why I've stayed with my trades business for 15 years now. Had a couple painting businesses, a washing business, Christmas light business, is because I love that the thing can run without Dave and can run profitably. And we have some great months where we're making $25,000, $30,000 a month of profit. And the owner is not needed in the business. And that's a pretty phenomenal thing. And I take all the struggles and stresses that come with that, because in this first category, you make a decent income, you can make a 6-figure salary. That's great, but you don't have your time. And for me, there's no amount of money that's worth tying up, a lot of the hours of my time, because I'm an entrepreneur and I like having multiple businesses and doing different things. And so that's just the choice that I've made. And we've helped now hundreds of home service business owners basically move from being solopreneur and making the jump to business owner. And that doesn't happen overnight. But if you read a book like Michael Gerber's The E-Myth Revisited, it will talk about how there's technicians, there's managers, and there's entrepreneurs. And I've read that book over 13 times now. And I built my whole coaching program on saying, hey, you've read the E-Myth. Let's now, because the E-Myth has great principles, but how do we actually distill those down into practical systems? And I've spent the last 5 years building out Home Service Business Coach, which is over 100 downloadable systems, trainings, templates, modules, a community, and we've helped hundreds of home service business owners make this jump from solopreneur to business owner, predicated on the fact you want to get your time back and you want to build something that can run without you. So if that's of interest, you want to get with us, talk with us, see what that's about, you can head on over to homeservicebusinesscoach.com. We do offer a 20-minute free call with our team, so you can check that out. But those of you just listening in on the podcast on YouTube, thank you so much for listening. Share this out with a friend that you think can help. And feel free to drop a comment below, like, what side of the tracks are you choosing? Again, there's no right or wrong answer. It's only right or wrong as it pertains to you and what exactly you want from your business. So I hope I was able to shed some light today, bring some value to you. I try to keep these trainings extremely practical and stuff that you can't necessarily find in a textbook as it pertains exactly to trades businesses. So hope you got some value. Take care, everybody, and we'll see you on the next piece of training.